Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
You know, I didn't really schedule a lot of guests between everybody that helps me with guests and bookings and things like that. It just turned out that way for whatever reason, variety of things. Just said that, you know what, let's every once in a while just make sure we have time to have a conversation. And wow, this seems like the day for it. So I'm had to make Paul answer a lot of phone calls because I'm guessing people got things to say today. We do have some guests coming up. It is a craft beer and music fest coming up on the 18th and 19th this weekend. I'll also be participating in that, and it's the goal is also to provide a space to gain awareness, to amplify the message of getting health care for comedians, performers. So we're going to talk to our friends in just a little bit about the Ravenswood Chicago event, including some of their chamber members. First of all, let's start with gratitude because it's Monday, and I don't want to lose track of making sure that we thank our sponsors. In particular, we want to thank our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters. So cool to hang out with Patti yesterday at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market. Patti and Jackie have an incredible, just wonderful small batch roasting company. Their fresh coffee beans are roasted to order. They're single origin, and you have got to try out. I bought 2 bags of coffee yesterday. I'm very excited to grind those up with my proper grinding machine because they got frustrated that I was using my blender, which made their coffee taste good, but I understand there's a difference. At any rate, PrideCoffeeRoasters.com. Thank you so much to our friends at PrideCoffeeRoasters.com for supporting the show and supporting our Pride Parade float this year. That was very fun. And I also want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. If you put in an order today, tomorrow, and Wednesday for Woke Coffee, whether it's their coffee beans or their coffee mugs or their canned coffee with some sweet oat milk, that helps support the work that I do there as well. And in addition to the show here, but that helps a column that I wrote, and we'll talk about that in a moment because Lindsey Graham left us instructions for what to say about him. At any rate, that's MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. They also have a tap room in Madison if you can't make your way all the way up to the brewing company up there. He does a wonderful beer tasting there regularly, so you might want to check that out if you're on the road at all this summer. We also want to thank our friends at Berman, Kia, and Subaru for supporting our Pride Parade float this year. So proud to have ridden and driven with them. I actually got to drive the Ticonderoga. It was a very fun vehicle to get behind the wheel of. Again, that's Berman, Kia, and Subaru. We also want to thank our friends at Are You Really Winning and Kids Above All as sponsors of the show. And Social Change, of course. Go to socialchange.site. Be the change that you want to see in the world and join Social Change in their mission to help people live happy, healthier, safer lives. Okay, that's and hello to our friends listening on KKNW 1150 in Seattle, joining us here on WCPT 820. Of course, our friends that are tuning in digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and now Minocqua Brewing Company Substack, where I also host a weekly office hours Mondays at 1 p.m. Central. And there's a lot, so I wanted to give folks an opportunity to call in today. I wrote a piece. Okay, where to even begin? Really, I mean, this is one of those weekends, one of those Mondays where things kind of are all over the place. It's a lot. And you know what? I think I am going to start with Sam Neill and his wonderful career. My husband and I often talk about what really holds our attention, whether it's movies or television series or, any sort of entertainment. And I tend to need, even no matter how dark something is, I need some element of mirth, some sort of like a twinkle of the eye. And Sam Neill, and he played, I'm not saying every character, believe me, he played some dark characters. But let's just admit it. I absolutely adore him in Jurassic Park. Just so much fun. And hearing that Harrison Ford had been offered that role, I heard that on Jones' show today. It's one of those things where you can't imagine. It's like, would Tom Selleck be good as as Indiana Jones? It's that argument, right? No. Sam Neill was an absolute delight in that movie. And Joan listed off a great number of roles that he's played over the year. He was super dark in the movie The Piano. If you haven't, that's an old one. God, that's from 1991 or so. Anna Paquin was 11 or 12 years old. She won the Academy Award for that one. And at any rate, he is tremendous in that movie. And Joan mentioned Peaky Blinders. He is such a despicable character in that series. I mean, just gut-wrenchingly good at being horrible. At any rate, just a great actor. And I had followed him on social media and his winery and his adventures there. And he just always seemed to have the time for people. And again, seeing all the outpouring of love from his universe of work, people he had worked with throughout his career is a tribute to how much fun. Because look, there are people who we'll talk about one in a moment, but there are people who we lose, and it hits us all differently. If it's someone who meant something in your life, to have that sort of character that you just enjoy seeing. At any rate, it was very sad to hear about Sam Neill. He apparently had been battling cancer previously, and we haven't received any information. And nor, it's one of those things where people want to know how or why someone passed away. And, it's different when they're electeds. But at any rate, just really sad to hear about Sam Neill. And then, yes, Lindsey Graham. Wow. I woke up yesterday morning, and it's one of those things where there are times, because I do some social media content, I make some reels, and I post stories and columns, essays and thoughts, cartoons. Me and Jerry Walsky run the Patti Vasquez show page, and so you'll see commentary on a wide variety of things there. And there have been times over the last 6 months that I've woken up to when we invaded Venezuela, when we started bombing Iran, just a couple, the murders of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, and I do call them that. If you want, we're not going to break those down again, because now we have, within the span of 1 week, I don't believe, at least I do not yet have the name of the young man in Bidford, Maine, who was killed this morning. But we do have Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, who was killed last Tuesday while he was on his way to work. And this relates directly to the reaction to Lindsey Graham's passing. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo has been here for 35 years. And in 2013, there was legislation drafted in part by Senator Lindsey Graham, the DREAM Act, which was a pathway to citizenship, which would retroactively grant, for those who were here with permission, a pathway to citizenship, which would have included Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. And it's been interesting to watch and listen to some of the reactions. I have my own thoughts, in particular when it comes to his hissy fit over Brett Kavanaugh. You're so mean to him. Like, that was basically his reaction when they had Brett Kavanaugh in the hearings. And he said prior to that, during the Obama administration, and I have this audio on a clip I made, he said in a committee hearing or whatever forum it was, I know it was with behind all the desks and everything, but he said if the next president, who was elected in 2016, is, if they have to appoint another Supreme Court justice, and if it's in the last year and heading into an election, that they would not seat that justice. And yet 8 days before, am I screaming? 8 days before an election, what do? They seat Amy Coney Barrett because of how mean they had been to Brett Kavanaugh. They hurt Brett Kavanaugh's feelings because he likes beer. I drink beer. And that's just one of those, just a couple of things. Lindsey Graham learning, just sort of like, because there's a point where, I should not even know this much about a senator from South Carolina. And yet when they have this kind of impact, just like we know way more about a senator from Wisconsin during the McCarthy era, having this national impact on us, this grip on policy, all because he wanted to lick the boots of this president. And I'm being as uncrass as I possibly can. That's the nicest thing I can say about the way he behaved over the last decade. This whole idea that I guess he was friends with John McCain and whatever the way the closest person with power, maybe, or the person that convinces him, or because he had said that if Trump wins, that their party would be lost, that he was a racist, that that there was no reason for him, that he would be dangerous as a president. And not only did nothing change, it got worse. How do you, a month ago, he said that Lindsey Graham said that Trump was just behind God in status. What? I'm not a fan of a lot of the reactions from liberals and people who fight for human rights, saying that he was a hero, that he loved this country. Like, here's a thought for a moment like this, and I'm not celebrating his passing, but I'm certainly not going to. It's sad, and I'm sad for his family and his sister, for the people who loved him. I'm sad for the people who he has harmed for decades. I was sad before he died. I don't know what to tell you. How am I supposed to? His passing doesn't change his legacy, and the idea that the electeds, whether it's Dick Durbin or Tammy Duckworth or Amy Klobuchar, wrote a longer tribute to Lindsey Graham than she did for Melissa Hortman, who was assassinated in her home with her husband and dog. And I'm not. How about just thoughts and prayers? Couldn't they have just said thoughts and prayers? Isn't that what you do when a child is ripped in half by bullets in their classroom and can only be identified by their green Converse? Don't we just say thoughts and prayers? I thought that was a policy for Republicans, that you say thoughts and prayers. Because what it smacks of is that they don't understand how much harm he did. They're insulated in D.C. with these relationships, and Durbin telling this story about having dinner and how funny he was, and that's what Cory Booker said, because it reminds us that the policies that get through, whether or not they have power, whether or not it's the Republicans who are driving the bus, and we're all just trying to get out of the way and not get run over. They're all in the bus with them. They're all together. Like, they just look at it like, oh, that would suck if we hit them. Oh, well, I guess at least we're on the bus. I just came with that analogy. I don't know if that works, but I just got a little angry. Their policies, the policies that backfire, the policies that, for example, like today in Bedford, Maine, when we continue to fund ICE at these levels, what is it? $250 billion, and they still can't wear body cams. I'm seeing arguments on my social media page that they're not required. In fact, they are required by their own ICE policy. And the idea that over and over again, because I had gone back to Renee Good, because Kristi Noem, back in January with her big, stupid Yosemite Sam hat, came out and said that Renee Good had ambushed, that they'd gotten stuck in the ice, that they were trying to push their car out, and she ambushed them. And yet you could see the footage of them rolling up to her car, jumping out of their car, yanking on her door, Jonathan Ross putting his body in front of her car, which goes against the policy of law enforcement. So forgive me if I'm not going to believe ICE when they say anybody turns their car into a weapon. Don't get in front of the car. Don't shoot at a moving vehicle is also their training. Jim, am I yelling? Hold on, what time? You know what, Jim? Everybody online, I'm going to take a break here, and we'll take your phone call, 773-763-9278, 773-763-9278. Tots and prayers for those who need them. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk and
Or
Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
so much for joining us as we continue our drive home. I just got a message from the political cartoonist of the Chicago Tribune. He'll be joining us at 6 o'clock. Paul Shivari, that is a production note on the air. I'll get you the phone number for Scott Stantis. Actually, we'll probably do Zoom. I'll send him the Zoom link, and we'll do it that way, so we don't have to worry about the phone lines or anything like that. So Scott Stantis joining us at 6 o'clock, and very excited. By the way, just got a production note. We will also be having Matt McNeil on Friday at 6 o'clock. Again, that's on Friday at 6 o'clock with Matt McNeil from KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. And I'm very excited to talk to him later in the week. Let's get to our phone calls. Jim, I believe I was yelling a little bit. Thank you to the texters, by the way, for your kindness. What's on your mind, my friend?
Eugenics, Patty. You know, a thing that came up in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
And it's this idea that one Homo sapien, by his birthright, is superior to another Homo sapien. And that, to me, anybody who believes that is nuts. Because just like we found out today, we've got Lindsey Graham on Friday night, didn't know he was going to be done on Saturday. The point is, when you've got these people talking about immigrants like they're not equal to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, not equal to eat and live until they die. They can't exist because some group of people believe that they're superior to this other group of people. That to me is just insane. I've never thought like that in my life, because the truth of the matter is they're just as human as I am, and they're just like Lindsey Graham. Friday tonight we might be talking, Patty. By tomorrow I might be dead at 5 o'clock. The point is, nobody is superior to anybody. But that was a eugenics theory in the 20s and 30s. Germany carried to an extreme, and. But this go ahead, Patty.
You know, Jim, in addition to wanting to control the population of black and brown people, eugenics is also deeply rooted in getting rid of or exterminating disabilities, people with disabilities as well. And I think now we can also say that that's the goal of people who see trans individuals is a form of eugenics.
Yeah, I agree. But why would anybody in their right mind think that you couldn't be disabled, or you couldn't be on death's door? Or you can't. I mean, in other words, and my point is, if you think you're that immortal that somebody with disabilities should be snuffed out, because why? Because you decide they can't run as fast as you, or they can't. They can't do the same things you do. I mean, what is that? That's insane. That's totally insane. But I mean, we're living in a century that this is still sticks around from 100 years ago, and it's so strange to do that when they know there's no such thing as a group of individuals who are superior to another group of individuals.
Yeah.
I've never met any. Have you ever met anybody who's superior to another group of individuals?
Not a group. I mean, I've certainly been in the presence of people and be like, I am over my skis. That's how I feel with Griffin. And so just like that.
But Patty, I mean, but still, you're his mother, and you are subjected to the same things Griffin's subjected to. We're all subjected to. I mean, death is inevitable, Patty. It's inevitable. You know that. As soon as you're a kid, you know that. And the point is, when you're looking at another person, I mentioned this before. Compassion is a Greek word for suffering along with. And you've got to be able to suffer along with anybody.
Yeah.
To feel, to be able to assist them.
You bring up something that just made me think, and maybe that's the problem, is that people would rather not feel that suffering. They don't want to feel that pain, and they think that eliminating other people, it's painful for them to see someone different. It's painful for them to see chaos. Someone just texted and asked me to remember and mention situations that the homeless and people with disabilities are facing because of sleeping bans, Medicaid cuts. That's another thing. I've mentioned this before. To me, people who are progressive and want to find solutions to help people are people. If you come across someone who's homeless and you think, what can I do to help? What can we do to avoid this? What could help this person? Right? Any one of those things. And if you think, why do I have to see this? Get rid of this person. That's a conservative to me. That's somebody who's in MAGA. Those are like. right?
Yeah, but
They're
you're
annoyed
right.
by
You're-
it.
yeah, no, that's true. But your first instinct is to help the individual,
Yes.
regardless of the shape that they're in.
Yeah, regardless of
That's
how
got
it
nothing
makes
to do
you
with it.
feel, right? Like if you feel disgusted or annoyed, but the thing should be at the base of it should be if they truly are Christians is what can I do to help?
Yeah, I don't care if you're a Christian or you're not a Christian or you're whatever you are. The point is you're in the same boat as that bugger is. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, I don't care if you're disabled, not disabled. I mean, my God, when I go through the history of the people I knew, some were disabled, some were drowned, some were accidents. I mean, you name it. And the point is, why would you? Take USA. Let's take that for instance. That was instituted by Jack Kennedy, and it was altruistic. Pat, it was done to help people survive in different places in the world. And his brother-in-law started the Peace Corps. Those weren't done for power or done for anything money-wise. It was done to help people. To help people survive, just like they want to survive, just like Jack Kennedy wanted to survive, just like Schreiber wanted to survive. I mean, we're all in that boat. We all understand that. So, I mean, why would they cut out USA? Think of the torture that these poor people, they can't get mosquito nets. They can't get, actually, they suffer with malaria and die, which they shouldn't have to. And I mean, I don't know. Of course, I've never been a Republican. I don't even know what a Republican. I don't even know how they think. But in the old days, it was defense and be conservative. But now it's gone into some different era that I can't even explain. Anyway, Patty, I don't know what to say.
Thanks.
It's just nuts.
Thanks, Jim.
It's nuts. Take care, Patty.
I appreciate it. Take care. Let's get to Paul in Seattle. What's on your mind, Paul?
Yeah, Patty, did you hear the clip that Joan played about what Tom Wolfe had to say about Lindsey Graham?
I did not.
Oh, well, okay. This is that the reason that Lindsey Graham stuck up to Trump is because that Trump was holding out Lindsey Graham's being gay against him.
Really? That's something that's well known. I mean, we've all talked about it, and I always felt like if there was something there, there would be more people coming out. I don't know if they were afraid of being sued or if there was some.
Well, you're right. I've heard of it. There was this supposition. Stephanie Miller's show kind of makes jokes about it,
right.
And sometimes, but I knew the idea was there, but I don't know. But apparently, let's say that most people, even in South Carolina, had the same kind of I've heard that, but. The problem is when Trump says, it doesn't really matter to us, but when Trump says, I'll use it to ruin you, then it does matter to people.
Right. That makes sense.
You see
That's
what I mean?
You're saying. Sure.
Yeah. But then this tells you something about Lindsey Graham, that he's so spineless that he goes, okay, I'll do whatever you say. That's not living as who you are. That's saying, oh, yeah, you're going to ruin me because I'm gay? If he was going to say, I'm going to ruin you because you're blind, Paul, I'd say, go ahead. Destroy yourself doing that. Go ahead. And show us all who you are. That's what I would say. But Lindsey Graham couldn't do that. The other thing about Lindsey Graham's death is that I guess it's just that the reporting in this country is so bad. I'll just leave it there. That the reports were, it sounds very suspicious. Now, it was he suddenly fell ill and died. And right. I'm like, before he could get to the emergency room?
Right.
I've fallen ill, and it's like, well, whatever it is.
I will say, having been in the house when my father had dissected aorta, my father, now it was secondary to his lung cancer, but we knew it from a scan that it was possible, but he didn't even know. He didn't wake me up. I would have taken him to the emergency room. My father did not wake me up the night that he died or the morning. He was in pain all night. He did not go to the hospital either and died at home of a dissected aorta. He just thought that he was having back pain. Really?
Right. But this was, first of all, there was some indication and this was how many years ago? Right.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying it's possible to think that you'll just. But what my understanding was that he didn't want to go. He said he wasn't feeling well and didn't want to go and would wait to go to the hospital. I'm not neither here nor there. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That first of all, he's got such great health care. If he has a cardiac condition, then he knows what it is, and you better go to the emergency room. Okay, so that makes me think he might not be feeling well. The first thing I thought is, oh, this is Putin poisoned him. He
That was a
doesn't
lot of
wanna
people
go,
thought that
but
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then we, and then we have Mitch McConnell releases his
Oh my God.
office, releases a statement.
And Paul didn't even mention the death of Lindsey Graham, which I thought was wild. Didn't say like.
But then they did release this perfunctory. Oh,
Yeah.
he's been a good friend to Elaine and I, and and the thoughts and prayers. I'm like, listen, nobody who's been in the hospital for 30 days says it like that. That came from his secretary. And here's the other thing. They're trying this whole thing, this photograph that I guess what Jimmy Kimmel was making fun of the Washington Post and Mitch McConnell sitting up in bed with his wife, and which is very AIable, I guess. But
Yeah.
I was thinking, here's the thing. If you're in the hospital in your 80s, and I've gone through this with my mom when she was alive, it has been in the hospital for every week that you're in the hospital, that's 4 weeks. Or I'm sorry, that's a week in inpatient rehab, and a month, an additional month at home rehab. So at this point, regardless, Mitch McConnell will be, if he were released today, he would be in inpatient rehab for another month and another 4 months or 5 months in at-home rehab. He wouldn't return to work for 6 months.
Right.
The other thing is that you just get. He says his office said that, or whatever. The report was that. They're just holding it for doing tests. No, they don't keep you in the hospital. If all they need to do is test you,
Right.
you come back and do the test. You don't keep you there.
Right.
So if he's still there because they're doing treatment, at this point, the hospital staff, at this point, weeks ago, they were thinking, we got to get him out of here and into rehab because this happened to my mom. My mom was in the hospital for 21 days, got weaker and weaker and weaker. And we thought, this is it. This is the end. Mom's going to die. And she finally got out and she recovered, but it took her, she was 21 days in the hospital, 21 days in inpatient rehab, and it took her 4 months to recover from that. I thought when she came home from the whole thing, I went, oh my God, my mom has brain damage. And it was just like, she was so unrecovered. And then it was months before she came back to being mom again.
Yeah. That's
So I don't trust anything.
Oh, no,
in that. Isn't
I
that
agree.
horrible that we don't trust anything that's going on with our government?
No.
That we can get any straight facts? That's weird.
It is very weird. Thanks for calling, Paul. Appreciate it. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you again soon. Let's take a break here. We'll continue taking your phone calls at 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. Phone lines are open. Coming up at 6, we'll talk to Scott Stantis, and then we'll have our friends in from HACC and the event for raising money and awareness to get some health care for some folks who need it. More in a moment. On WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle, and all our friends tuning in digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and now Minocqua Brewing Company Substack. Please subscribe and share. Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
We are taking your phone calls. By the way, when you do call in, it's Paul Shivari on the microphone. We still have to talk about the World Cup. We haven't even. Here, let me. Do I have it? Are you on my board? You are on my board. Hi.
Hello.
Oh my God.
I made sure to put myself.
Thank
on the board.
you. Well, you can remind me and say, hey, if you want to chat, you can always say. I messaged you about the game. That was crazy.
Oh, it was, yeah. You
Yeah.
messaged me about Argentina versus Switzerland, or no, England versus Norway. Is
Norway.
The one yeah.
I did not watch the other one.
You got to remember, I'm here working, so I'm
I
not
know.
exactly watching it.
I understand that. I figured that you might have time to catch some highlights and things like that.
As far as the people that sign my paycheck, I don't watch a lick
No.
of World Cup when
No.
I'm on the clock.
But here's the thing, because you are also a commentator on my show, I would say it's work related.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think
No,
that's-
and that's why I find my times when I can. Yeah.
I don't see how that's a problem. That was crazy. So we took Declan to a pub. We went over to Vaughn's. You know, I like my Vaughn's over there.
Oh,
on
you
Northwest
watched over
Highway.
at Vaughn's or similar to Vaughn's?
Vaughn's.
Oh, you went to Vaughn's.
I went
okay.
over to Vaughn's. We grabbed a booth and we had a pint. And I was there long enough to see both score. And then, I mean, the second. Okay, so that second one. And everyone's was watching. I mean, like Holland. Do you think there was anything? Do you really believe that he just didn't see him to pass him the ball?
That wasn't the one that everyone said hit the wire.
The crossbar.
Of the
No.
overhead thing,
That's
was it?
also problematic. Yeah.
Okay, now keep in mind I haven't seen these. So you're talking about Norway's one goal that they scored, right?
They
early
scored
on.
one, and then they could have scored a second. Holland was open. It was 2-1. I don't know what the names of these things are. But at any rate, there was a moment. Yes, and then the ball hit the wire later. I think that was in the overtime. I didn't know there was overtime. So because they're heading into the final four, now they have overtime. There's no ties.
Yeah, in the knockout round, since there has to be a winner, it can't end in a draw. So it'll be like the 2 45-minute halves, like we see, and then there's no golden goal, so it's not like the game-winning goal in overtime or whatever. So you'll have 2 15-minute additional extra periods, and then if they can't determine a winner, it goes to penalty kicks.
Okay. So did you have any feelings about? Did you prefer to have England or?
I don't really have I guess Norway would have been fun.
Yes.
I think because it's like the different team, someone that hasn't won it before, and they've been kind of the darlings of this World Cup. But the Final Four, I think, were the top 4 in the rankings going into the tournament. I think it's who FIFA wants. It's going to drive the most dollars. I don't really have a dog in this fight. I think it's interesting. Like Spain and France was something that was on my radar ahead of time when the tournament started. I was like, oh, that would be a great final. But then I found out in their groups, it's like, okay, unless one of them gets second place, if they win their groups, it'll only be a semifinal. England and Argentina is going to be an interesting one because Argentina seems to have like the referee's favor and all of this luck. But lately, England has found a way to kind of like turn it on all of a sudden.
Yeah. It seemed that way, and people. I don't know the name of this. The player that hit the game-winning goal in overtime.
It's not Jude Bellingham, is it?
It might have been Bellingham.
Yeah. He's great midfielder. Plays for Real Madrid.
I think he's gonna be the next darling, and he's friends with Holland. They play together. They used to play together, or no?
Yeah. Well, Holland, I guess, is also British, like his citizenship as well. So, and I'm sure in the world soccer stage, these guys all know each other somehow. I want to say Bellingham and Holland might have been on a team together, but I don't remember.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was trying to get a little. It was Manchester City is who Holland plays for. There was something about, like they are not a well-liked team, are they?
Manchester City?
Yeah.
No, I mean it depends on who your affiliations are, though.
Right. I mean, but it seems like they're widely disliked by people who are not from Manchester City.
Yeah, well, they're kind of like the new Yankees, like the evil empire.
Yes.
There's also like lots of allegations of like misappropriating funds or misidentifying funds, and they've gotten away with it, and they tend to win a lot of championships.
Yes.
So and other smaller clubs get punished for way lesser things. So yeah.
All right. Well, it was funny because there was obviously I learned everything I know about World Cup soccer from social media, and that there was an an Irish guy saying, "Of course, we're rooting for Norway. I don't care because I guess Declan Rice is Irish," and he goes, "He's a traitor." So He goes, "Look, Norway are the Vikings. They came to Ireland once. They gave us Dublin. The English gave us famine, and then told us we brought it on ourselves." He said, "I don't care if Declan Rice is from Ireland, he's a traitor." So all these videos have been fun to watch. So congratulations. So it's England. I don't know who else.
England versus Argentina will be on Wednesday.
Okay.
France versus Spain on Tuesday, tomorrow.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about any of this. I'll define my feels on it. I'm trying to get excited.
In terms of picking a team or
yeah,
what?
I was excited. It was exciting to watch Holland. Even when you have to watch the videos of him not getting the ball. Like he's just kind of like, he goes like this. He's got his hands out like, I'm open. Hey, oh, hello, I'm over here. And yes, and then the ball hitting the wire, also problematic.
Yeah, I guess FIFA showed like a different angle of it, and it didn't look like it hit it at all. So I don't know. But I mean, I know that like there's like tracking inside of the ball, so if it did hit something, it would signal to the referee.
Yeah, and then there was one call on Holland on that goal, on the goal that they called back. What do you call it? they
they took it
eliminated-
away or
took it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call, it was. I was like, I've seen way worse hits.
Yeah.
Since I've been watching in this brief time. Now, before I get to the phone calls, one more thing. There's a documentary, I guess, coming out about the Women's World Cup from 1971 in Mexico City. Do you know this history? About
No idea. Yeah.
They basically banned them afterwards for a while. So I want to learn more about that too in women's sports. Of course, we are in the opening days. Is about 3 weeks left before the Women's Professional Baseball League opens in Springfield on August 1st. There are 4 teams, and I'm going to dive into this, but all 4 teams are like their names are rooted in history, like women who were groundbreaking. So they're kind of all named after. So I'm fascinated by that. So I want to learn more. At any rate, all right. Cool.
I did look up Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland played on Borussia Dortmund in Germany. Like
that's what
3
I thought.
or 4 years
I have no
ago.
idea. They played on Borussia German.
But Borussia Dortmund.
Dortmund. All right. Yes.
In Bundesliga.
That's what you said. I don't know. All right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for the update.
Anytime.
Let's see. We got Roosevelt. Roosevelt, this is confusing because I feel like you're calling and texting me at the same time. So let's see what's going on. Hey, Roosevelt, what's on your mind, my friend? Oh, FIFA's princess. Messi is FIFA's princess?
Yeah, you were talking about...
oh, is that funny? Who is this?
So you're talking about social media. So what's going on in the Latin world or...
Oh, yeah.
Social media that... I don't know if you saw the game between Egypt and Argentina, but with 11 minutes left, they scored 3 goals. That is so rare. I don't know a lot about soccer, but once you got 1 goal, it's very hard to overcome even that 1 goal.
Yeah.
They had to overcome 2 goals, and they got 3 goals in 11 minutes. Now, how does the defense break down with 11 minutes left? I'm talking about Egypt. And there were some calls that were missed. So that's why they're calling this guy FIFA's princess, because I believe, just like a lot of Latin people, that they want Argentina to win. Who's in Argentina? Messi. Who's the most popular? Messi. Who has the records? Messi. Which shirts? Whatever. The shirts, whatever they wear. Anyway, that's the number 1 sell. And that guy is corrupt. Infantino is corrupt because of the fact that he let Trump help the USA team because he took back that red card.
Hey, look, with the shenanigans that went on with the Olympics and what was going to happen in Chicago and the bribery from Brazil in order to get the Olympics I have no doubt. And then did you hear me last week when I was talking about what they wanted from the city of Chicago, Paul and Roosevelt, that FIFA wanted the city of Chicago to pay for a dome that would cost between $50 and $100 million over Soldier Field. They wanted the right to be able to do that.
Just for this tournament.
Just for the World Cup this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know what? As much as my feelings about Rahm Emanuel aside, thank you.
Hey, you got to hand it to FIFA, though, that at least they came up with a quicker solution than anyone else in the state did.
My husband made a good point. Sorry, Roosevelt, you're in this conversation now. My husband made a good point. He's like, what kind of conversations were they having with the Bears owners? Was that a Bears owners requirement? You know what I mean? Like, was there shenanigans going on between FIFA and the Bears owner? I mean, it's an interesting, I'm just saying, if we're in this shady territory.
True.
Infantino's corrupt, man. I mean, to let Trump do that, and like I said, I told you this before on your show, that ever since he gave Trump that he opened up the gates of shenanigans going on, and so I don't want Argentina to win, but I believe Argentina is going to win, and if it ain't Argentina. If it's not fixed, if it's not Infantino, I believe it's going to be. Did England win?
Yes, it's England, Argentina, France, and what was it? Paul knows the 4th one. France, Spain, Argentina, and England. That's all 4, right?
You got it.
Okay. Okay. So
Paul's going to give me flashcards from now on. Then we'll be texting him. Now what's happening? I don't understand what just happened. What was that?
Go ahead. Did you hear me?
You know what was that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear? Yeah, okay. That game between Mexico and England, by the way, so far it's been the most watched game. I believe it was 70 million around the world that saw that game.
Wow.
But England, I love that game because of the fact that they shook their hands. Did you see that 17-year-old Mexican player?
Yes, such a
was
sweet
crying,
kid. Yeah.
crying, and the British guy, the English guy, I love that. He took his jersey off and gave it to him.
Yeah.
You know, and because the kid kind of messed up a little bit, you know. But yeah.
Hey, what are you gonna do? It's all games. Thanks, Roosevelt. Have a great night. Good hearing from you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take a break here. Continue our conversation when we come back. If you want to join us, 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. You can call or text. I am getting your text messages, and I appreciate that you joined us. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1115 Seattle. Hello to all our friends tuning in digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and now Substack with Manaqua Brewing Company. I don't know where that was going. I stuttered and I didn't get it right. So Manaqua Brewing Company on Substack. Please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing so your friends and family can join the conversation too. More after this.
The political beats. You're driving it home with Patti Vasquez, where progressive talk fuels the ride.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our drive home. I want to keep you up to date on what's going on for the rest of our schedule as well. Of course, coming up tonight after the show is Politics Bar, followed by Matt McNeil from KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. And tomorrow on Choose Views, Richard Choose guests are Amber Wallen, Executive Director of the State Revenue Alliance, Adam Snyder, Director of Communications for the Governor's Highway Safety Association, Corbin Trent, Democratic Strategist and Publisher of America's Undoing on Substack, and this is going to be so interesting, you guys. Please tune in for the whole show, including the conversation, and especially the conversation with Dr. Annie Andrews, pediatrician, public health expert, and candidate for U.S. Senate in South Carolina. She was running against Lindsey Graham, so it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out now, because apparently, I don't understand I guess not just even the formalities or the thought process of deciding to appoint Lindsey Graham's sister to his seat. And you know what also struck me, if you were listening to Joan's show, she played audio of someone speaking on the floor of the Senate talking about how they had draped a black cloth over Lindsey Graham's desk and had a bowl of white roses, and who apparently his desk was that also of John Calhoun. And I'm not sure that's do you really want to be proud of sitting at the desk of I guess maybe it's birds of a feather sitting in the desk of a white supremacist who owned dozens of slaves and aggressively championed the institution of slavery. And he was the one, if you're not familiar, had this thesis of the positive good, in that he's one of those people that back in the day, in the 1830s, argued that slavery was a beneficial system that elevated black people and enabled white democracy. So I guess it's fitting that was the seat that Lindsey Graham had. So there you go. Yeah, it was not, I was driving and hearing that, like, we're all supposed to go, oh, he sat in John Calhoun's seat. Yeah, that's not. The fact that there are Republicans in that chamber who was like, yeah, you know who used to sit here? Oh, the white supremacist used to sit in this chair. Lindsey sits in the white supremacist chair. Just saying, he believed he believed in a racial hierarchy, arguing from the Senate. John Calhoun argued that the Caucasian race was the supreme race, and that incorporating non-white populations would lead to destruction. So I'm just saying, I guess it's fitting that I'm sorry, I'm a little fired up today, especially when in 6 days, in the span of 6 days, 2 men who have been shot and killed by ICE agents, these poorly trained, dangerous thugs, who both times, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo last week was not the target for their operation in the first place. And everybody wants to talk about how they were, first of all, they were driving unmarked vehicles. Everyone talks about like when law enforcement pulls you over. I'm sorry. Guess what? When somebody is driving behind me, trying to cut me off, speeding up behind me, hitting my bumper, my first thought is, oh, I guess this guy's trying to pull me over. They didn't use their sirens until they started aggressively approaching him. So they had sirens. Why didn't they not turn the sirens out? That's according to the witnesses. I'm telling you, this Department of Homeland Security, their entire policy for migrants, regardless of their legal status, because he was here, so he was being sponsored by his son for 35 years. And by the way, if Lindsey Graham's legislation that he had worked on, the DREAM Act, had passed, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo would have qualified under that and would have been a U.S. citizen because that was a pathway to being a legal citizen. They make it extremely hard so they can have this red meat for MAGA to go, oh, look, he was. And by the way, what is the punishment for being here illegally? What is the punishment for a traffic stop, for pulling an illegal U-turn, even if that's what law enforcement wanted to say he did? What is the punishment for that? Is it execution? Because you're scared? Because you're in front of a vehicle that you just drove off the road? That you chased down, you made somebody panic. And then today in Biddeford, Maine, again, another man, 26 years old, a Colombian national, here with legal permission to work, so much so, they gave him a social security number during this administration. And witnesses say that when the man emerged from the car with blood coming out of his head, he said, I was trying to stop. The people, you miss me with this, just obey and comply. I had somebody on my Facebook page. I shared it on the Patti Vasquez show page. There are people drooling, just so excited for more brown people to die, for more black and brown people to be murdered by these poorly trained, aggressive, and dangerous thugs in our streets. Do you know that Renee Good's SUV is still shrink wrapped and hasn't been properly processed? At least in Minnesota, we seem to have a pathway to charging these killers. I don't know if that's going to be the case in Texas. I don't know. Hell, I don't even know what we're doing here in Chicago, in Illinois, in Cook County, when it comes to the agents who shot and killed Gonzalez. I'm sorry. I may have had his name wrong. Please forgive me if I've gotten his name wrong. Miramar Martinez was shot 5 times. Are there any charges for her pending, for her case pending? There were against her, and they were dismissed because the judge ruled that the agents had lied. And they also had the text where the shooter was bragging about how many times he had shot her because he's a firearms instructor. And he was texting, he's like, five rounds, 7 holes, boys. Top that kind of crap. I'm going to be mad at myself for not remembering the name of the man who was killed here in Chicago. He was one of the first killed on our streets. It was also on the road. I believe it was on the highway. Again, traffic stops are not punishable by execution. And Jonathan Ross walked in front of that vehicle as he was trained as Border Patrol. They would put themselves in front of a vehicle in order to have an excuse to shoot the drivers. So miss me with your BS. I am so mad at myself for not remembering this name. Hopefully someone's texting me the name of the first person who was killed here in Chicago. Hi, Maddie. Calhoun also came up with the idea of the filibuster. Oh, thank you, Maddie. That's a good point. ICE agents, Chicago. Now it's Googling with Patty now. We've got 15 seconds for me to find this. Here we go. On September 12th, thank you, Matt. Silverio Villegas. I knew as a Latino, I'm ashamed that I just sort of put in a name that sounded Latino. It happens to me. People call me Latino names, and I'm not crazy about it, so I apologize. And that was disrespectful for me to try and guess. ICE agents shot and killed 38-year-old Silverio Villegas Gonzalez in Franklin Park, a suburb of Chicago. And that was, I believe, whether he was targeted or the intended target or not. Again, pulling him over. The excuse was that he tried to flee or something. But they keep killing. There's 11 shootings by ICE agents since this administration took over. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150. Hi, everybody watching on our social media platforms. I appreciate it.
with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, and hello to all of our friends who are tuning in digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and now on Substack through Minocqua Brewing Company. Substack, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with your family and friends so they can join the conversation. And I want to start with gratitude. Thank you to our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. Put in a subscription for some of the best single origin roasted to order coffee beans you've ever had in your entire life. They started out as hobbyists, and it turns out they are fantastic as small batch roasters. Every single cup of coffee tastes like a love letter in a mug. So please go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. Thank you to our friends at Source Solar for keeping the lights on and these conversations going. Make a call to Peter Sorellis. You can find the number at source.solar. That's source.solar. And Peter will walk you through the entire process of getting solar panels on your house or business. That's source.solar. And of course, our friends watching on Minocqua Brewing Company Substack, you know that we have some great items and products, beer, T-shirts, and then we also have a marketplace. Minocqua Brewing Company Marketplace is fantastic. If you see the banner behind me, if you're watching, that We Won't Go Quietly back to the 1950s. That's by Liberal Lawn, and they make some great products. It's woman-owned, and you'll love the messages they have for your lawns, your windows, your backyard, and maybe your radio studio wall, is all I'm saying. So thank you to our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company, and thank you to Kids Above All and Are You Really Winning, as well as our friends at Social Change and Kia. Berman, Kia, and Subaru. And thank you to my friend Scott Stantis, who I called out of the bullpen. I said, you know what? I need to talk to somebody about all the craziness. Scott Stantis, the political cartoonist for the Chicago Tribune, joins us. Scott, how's Alabama these days?
Good. I'm not dead. I'm not pretending to be alive. This is it's all good.
Yikes.
Things down here weird as hell, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, we still continue to have a gubernatorial candidate who doesn't live here, which is shocking. And Tommy Tuberville, rated recently by the Washington Press Corps as among the dumbest U.S. senators. And now there's a good chance he'll be among the dumbest U.S. governors. So lucky us. I got to tell you, there are days I miss. Chicago politics are crazy and they're just as messed up, but they're not like, this. It's preposterous. It really is.
Yeah, that is wild. I mean, he was the one that was holding up promotions in the military because he didn't want abortion coverage for women serving.
And now he's supporting the president and the Secretary of War. For not promoting people of color or people who happen to have, vaginas. Apparently.
I knew.
Yeah, apparently.
James, you owe me a Coke.
That's not the word I would have picked, but there it is, folks. This guy is, I mean, in the politics down here, and they just eat it up. It's crazy. But, this is the state. Look back at George Wallace. What America did in 2016 is, and I told you this on the air, and I stand by it to this day. America elected George Wallace. They absolutely, a guy who, segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever.
Yeah, these are.
And by the way, who also later said, I hear that I had a radio show down here actually for a while, and that came up, and they said, I got callers. Oh, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
What does that
Which
mean?
makes it worse.
Oh my
Lester
God.
Maddox was a monster. He was the governor of Georgia and had the axe handles and used them to beat people. And I mean, he was a genuine, horrible, knuckle-dragging, racist piece of garbage. George Wallace was the same. And if he didn't mean it, then that makes it worse.
Well, in practice, I mean, what he was doing when it came to whether it was desegregation policies in the state. I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned this because did you hear the speech today? I don't know which senator was talking about Lindsey Graham's desk, and talking about pointing over to it apparently, and it was cloaked in a black draping and a bowl of white flowers. He goes, and that was the desk of John Calhoun. And like, well, that tracks. Yeah, I was like, "Why
are you serious?" Because that's record scratch. Now, explain to your audience who this is.
Go ahead. I talked about how he had the whole theory that slavery was good for black people and that it protected the hierarchy. The whole expanding slavery, the positive good doctrine. What's your take? I mean, the whole idea of the nullification, allowing states to ignore federal laws. Which part do you want to lock into?
Yeah, no, Calhoun was a monster.
Yes.
Why would you have his desk? He must have been from South Carolina, I'm assuming, because that's where many monsters come from.
Yeah, he was. He was from South
and
Carolina.
Lindsey Graham, the thing is, and so I talk about George Wallace if he didn't mean it. I mean, Lindsey Graham clearly believed in nothing other than Lindsey Graham.
Correct.
His passing is not a strike at the heart of the republic. It's quite the opposite. South Carolina won't do the right thing. South Carolina's never done the right thing. I mean, beginning with Fort Sumter and moving forward.
Yes.
So we can't expect, that would be miraculous, a Democrat taking that seat. They're talking about Lindsey Graham's sister.
Yes, that's my understanding is they will appoint her to the seat.
Is that a done deal? Because I know that's what Trump said he wanted, and what Trump wants, apparently, Republicans do.
Seems to be the case. And by the way, speaking of the candidates running in the on the Democratic side of the ballot, Dr. Annie Andrews will be on this station tomorrow with Richard Chu in the morning.
Cool.
Yeah, she's a pediatrician, public health expert. I mean, qualified in a lot of.
She's a scientist. What? Oh, she believes in all that stuff. Peer-reviewed science. Oh, come on, that's for suckers, man. We all know that.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the feels. It's all about the feels. For a group of people who I've seen bumper stickers around here, which, for all the, I'm doing air quotes here, always great for radio, the politeness. You have the F your feelings, except it doesn't say F.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Feelings.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's all feelings for these people. It's all feelings for MAGA. It's nothing but feelings. I feel that,
yes,
vaccines made my child stupid. I said, well, maybe your genes did that more than anything else.
Yep.
I feel that this is. It's like, no, you don't have a right. You don't have a right to your own facts. You don't have a right to believe something that is not true.
Exactly.
I mean, you can. I mean, it's a free country. You can, and apparently most people do. But look at. I'm not sure if you're watching Fox at all or looking at the conservative side of all things on the Mitch McConnell's thing. And you probably already picked up on this, where they ran a picture of him to prove that he's A-OK, and the picture's 2 years old. And guess what? Computers now can actually tell.
Wait, I had not heard it confirmed that it's an old photo.
Yeah, it's a 2.5 or 4-year-old photo of him when he was in the hospital before.
No.
At least that's what that's one of my
I had not.
Political friends.
I heard there's so much. We were talking about this earlier when it comes to Lindsey Graham. There were so many rumors about him being gay that, like, anybody saying today that he's gay, I'm like, yeah, okay. It's just like.
I don't care if he was gay.
I don't either.
The bad part is that he wouldn't come out. And I would not care one iota. But actually, some editorial cartoonists are passing around their favorite lines, and one of them is, sure, Mitch is evil, but don't forget, Lindsey did everything he did, only backwards and in heels.
Yeah. Wow. Well done. I'm not finding where it's confirmed that it was that it's a fake.
Oh, is it
photo.
not confirmed?
I don't know if it's confirmed, but a lot of people are saying it's AI, and people are bringing in experts. I mean, like 20 minutes ago, the Washington Post, McConnell took a photo with that day's newspaper. The internet has questions. People are asking AI experts. Independent internet latches onto conspiracies. Have you seen Jimmy Kimmel's image where he photoshops his face onto Mitch McConnell's body?
No,
it's pretty funny looking. But I mean, just to show you how seamless it would be to just put your face.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's. I'm sorry. I need a Zoom call. You're telling me all these weeks. What are we in now? 5 weeks since the ambulance was called, and he says he fell and he's recovering. And the reason that he didn't make a statement or hasn't gotten back to work is because he's afraid. He's too proud. He doesn't want to admit that he's getting weaker and older. Dude, it's.
Well, and don't forget, these are the same people, myself included, who castigated, rightfully, in my mind, the Biden White House for hiding these things that at the time, President Biden was not, and probably shouldn't have been president, certainly shouldn't have run for re-election. This is the same group. And Fox News is, the exact same people. Now, apparently, hypocrisy, thy name is everybody in politics. You and I have been covering this stuff for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we know that, but the hypocrisy and just is at such an extreme white hot level now, Patty. It just, I can't, I've never seen anything like this. And, Mitch McConnell, clearly something's going on. Now, the congressperson, I'm sorry, I have to ask you, who was gone for several weeks, and this
is a mental health illness. I'll look it up. This one
was was that a Republican or a
yes,
Democrat?
It was a Republican who had who had voted against paid leave for health issues. I would like that to hang in the air there for a moment, and that's who they are.
Yeah, that's who we're battling. That's the kind of thing you and I would agree on of what the proper role of government. You and I, come from issues in different directions, but there are things you and I can say, yeah, this is absolutely the right, or the purview of government should protect the weak.
It's interesting you say that we agree. We might disagree. Where do you think? We haven't talked much about policy. Where do we disagree now? Because you and I both support.
Now?
Yeah.
We don't.
No. Okay. Wow. Well, because we had disagreed. I think our biggest contention was abortion, and some of those issues. And I would think that at this point you would agree that women dying in parking lots or bleeding out and not having access to appropriate care, and the maternal health boards that are being disbanded, so you can't even count the bodies, and the poverty that a lot of these babies are being born into because there's no support once these women who've been forced to have babies are. I'm just saying it's a lot. I don't think this
the postnatal death rate has skyrocketed in this country.
Yeah.
Precise. And guess where that's happened. Yeah, you don't have to guess. So
it was Tom Keene, by the way. Tom Keene returned to the U.S. House of Representatives after a 4-month absence. Without any explanation.
And by the way, that stinks too. And really haven't gotten much of an explanation. And if it was depression, and hey, listen, I'm going to as sympathetic to mental health issues as the next person, but this doesn't pass that smell test. A lot of people are mentioning that it's probably substance abuse, which is, again, glad Congressman Keene got some help if that's the case. But, again, stop cutting programs that help people. Have you seen the numbers from USAID? There are issues with USAID. There are definite
with any bureaucracy.
Yes. But let's talk about the big butt in the room, shall we, Patty?
You know what? Let's hold on to that butt and come back in a moment with Scott Santos. We're going to continue our conversation with Scott Santos, the political cartoonist for the Chicago Tribune. You can go to chicagotribune.com to find his work. Where else would you like to direct folks, Scott?
Oh, that's great. I'm at DMZ America, the podcast.
DMZ America, the podcast, and we're going to talk butts when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
And we got big butts.
Got big butts, and we cannot lie.
And we cannot lie.
Wow, I don't think we should sing that whole song on the air, but probably some sort of royalties. And Paul is asking just for the quality of the performance to stop. Let's take a break here. Continue our conversation on KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Yes, your microphone is open. Go ahead. Oh, if you want to, I thought you were going to say something. Oh, you're trying to end this.
It's just funny hearing the Sir Mix-a-Lot remix here.
I wanted Scott to sing the whole song. Oh, KNW 1150, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Of course, we're broadcasting here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal in Chicago. Hello to all of our friends who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, and of course, Substack as well with Monaco Brewing Company. More in a moment.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
We're hanging out with Scott Santos, the political cartoonist for the Chicago Tribune, and he was talking about butts. No, it was about elephants, the elephant in the room, and I don't know what that. Do you remember what we were going to talk about, Scott Santos?
We were talking about big butts, but USA and how yeah, USA had some problems.
Oh, USA.
But the numbers that are coming out now of people who are dying because of this, I'm trying really hard not to curse now, Patty, because it's just, I get so angry.
Yeah.
That this is something that, again, and this is my conservative nature. I really do believe you can do many things incrementally, wiping out USAID because it helps those dark people somewhere.
Yep.
That's the reason it got wiped out. That was it. It's because you had, Elon Musk, who thinks that apartheid was not such a bad idea.
What?
I mean, oh, well, have you heard quotes from his dad? Holy Mary, Mother of God.
Yikes.
Yeah. So,
so to your point, and a listener just texted me this, wow. So Senator Ron Johnson says that proof of life photo is not a current one. So I guess that's the deal.
Yeah. No, apparently no, thank you. I like to be right once in a while.
Yeah.
It's the whole Mitch McConnell thing. I mean, and now looking at the numbers in the Senate, I mean, Trump holding off signing the transportation bill? No, the housing bill, the bipartisan housing bill, which the Republicans really wanted because they wanted to go out there and say, look, we can be bipartisan, which of course is horse feathers, but they were going to run on that, and he kind of didn't let them because he wants his I don't want people I don't like voting bill to pass. See, here's the thing. I mean, I can't look at any policy that this administration is doing. It's so rare that I can look at this and go, and this is someone who worked in Republican politics. I grew up in them. I worked in them. I mean, for crying out loud, Patty, I worked on Richard Nixon's reelection campaign at 13.
Wow. I know.
Yeah, I know. That explains the strictly adhered to do not date list I was on for all the years following. But I mean, you're talking about I died in the world, honest to God, worked on and got Republicans elected before I went into editorial cartooning kind of guy. And there is nothing about this Republican Party I recognize. And I'm angry. I think you can hear it in my voice. Mm-hmm. And weirdly, I'm hurt. Because this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I believe in.
Well, and you know how I felt 10 years ago that I was, that I had felt that, one, that I believed Trump not only could win, but was most likely to win, not just the nomination, but then also the election. And my argument had been how much hate had been sort of stirred up, had been unbottled, in particular during President Obama's administration. And also it was funny. I was talking to Hal Sparks. Are you familiar with Hal Sparks? He's a comedian and also a radio host here at WCPT. And he made an interesting point about the sort of progression of the anti-hero shows that we sort of elevated over the last 20 years, from The Sopranos to Breaking Bad, even like Nurse Jackie, where like the person who behaves really badly is the hero and the person we identify with and does these horrible things. And we kind of want to, like, even Seinfeld, like going back and these sort of selfish people and, who do really horrible things to other people. There's a sort of like desensitizing to bad behavior that a lot of, and by the way, all those shows, like I tried dipping into an episode of Sopranos and I was like, this is horrifying. It was like brutal sexual violence both times that I tried to tune in. I was like, oh, this is not for me. I hated Seinfeld. Breaking Bad, I'm kind of begrudgingly watching because Griffin likes it, and at least Bob Odenkirk's character just came in. Oh yeah, I can't. My dad died of lung cancer, and I have a severely disabled child. I was struggling. Like the first episode, I was like, I can't do this. But I thought that. But at any rate, my point being that there was in the Republican Party, to me, it was sort of like they wanted the antihero, the person that does really horrible, despicable things, to be their guy, to be their,
Yeah.
It's just the way I think that makes some sense in a lot of ways. They want this nasty, horrible people to do the things that they think that should be done to people, like killing them in their cars, yanking them out of their vehicles, smashing windows, driving them off the road, pepper spraying protests. Like they wanted all that stuff. They were waiting for that chaos. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, and also employed the people who the Proud Boy employment agency, or AKA ICE. And now apparently many of them are grousing that they're not getting the money they were promised.
Poor Proud Boys. PPBs.
Not the Proud Boys.
Poor Proud Boys. Did someone not give you your check? Is your ice vest too small for you? Go ahead.
I cannot for the life of me. I mean, you understood it. You saw it coming. I would fight that fight all the time. Republicans are racist. No, we weren't racist. We're Republicans. None of that is untrue anymore. All of that is applicable. All of that is, I went out, you go out in public now and you see the t-shirts that some of these guys are wearing and they're emboldened to wear. Like I said, F Your Feelings is a popular one. Other ones, guys wearing shirts and hats with guns on them. Mm-hmm. That's designed to get in your face, to make you feel uncomfortable, to scare you. These are just big, dumb, violent people, and they have a voice.
Yeah.
And it's okay now. For now. I don't know where this goes from here. The hope, you know what the hope is. I'm not sure that's where it goes. I'm not sure we can put this genie back. It took us 25 years to quick story. There's an intern at the Birmingham News when I was working there, and they were on the photo department. They came across in the back of a closet a bunch of undeveloped film. And it was, it turns out it was coverage of the civil rights movement from down there. An interesting side note, they developed it and they ran a special section of it. And the photographer who took them said, I should have burned them because he thought because of those outside agitators. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
But you see these guys, and my wife, who's one of the nicest people on the whole planet, looked at these photographs and says, why would they be so angry? I said, look at that guy. And one of the guys is at the counter, the lunch counter. And he's wearing a sweatshirt with holes in it. He's got a terrible haircut. He's ugly and he's missing teeth. So this guy's clearly stupid, made very bad decisions in his life. But in his crooked, weird, corroded little mind, he's still better than those people. And that's what we're dealing with now, is that guy's grandchildren, because, apparently was allowed to breed, are now, they're back. And it took us 20 plus years to shame them into silence. And it wasn't shaming them out of, because we dislike them, or they were shamed because they were saying stupid stuff. And I'm not a fan of stupid.
No. Same.
And that's what this is. I was listening to some comment that, okay, to walk it back, Scott. The president was saying today, and he talks like he's 7.
Oh my God, yeah. I know.
It's big, it's beautiful. Did you see when they put up that copy of the Declaration of Independence in the Oval Office?
No.
It's behind it has a little curtain.
Oh yeah, I have seen this, yes.
And they asked him, what does this mean to you?
Yep, I do
It's
remember
a
this.
beautiful document. It's a big, beautiful document that tells me it's all about love. It's all about brotherhood. And you and I are history geeks. The Declaration of Independence is a lot of things. Love and brotherhood ain't one of them. It's about enumerating the sins of the king, that people have a right not to be oppressed. And what that told me is, this guy's never read the Declaration of Independence.
No.
It's not long, Patty.
I know we read it on the air this week because we read it on the day that it was actually read to the public. So yes, it's not that long. Scott, I have to run because we have some guests coming in studio.
Oh,
maybe it's Mondays. Maybe instead of Fridays, it's Monday. We'll figure this out because I want to have you on regularly.
We'll figure this
I'm so
out.
glad you do this today. My best to Janine.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend. Scott Santa's political cartoonist for Chicago Tribune. Go to chicagotribune.com to find his work. And I will see you later, my friend. That was so fun. That was great. Thank you.
That was. Thank you for letting me rant.
It was great. I appreciate you ranting. I love you, Scott. More after this on
Love you too.
WCPT, KKNW, KTNF, AM 950, and of course, we're broadcasting on Facebook, on YouTube, and Monaco Brewing Company Substack, right here in Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. More after this. Let me find the right buttons. There's too many screens, Scott. There we go.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk and
Or
Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Of course, our friends who are tuning in on Facebook and on YouTube, and maybe you're watching on Substack from Monaco Brewing Company. Now, people always ask me when I'm going to do a show, and because I'm here, I talk for 2 hours a day. I figure you don't want to listen to me anymore, but I'm grateful for that. And fortunately, one of our friends who's appeared on the show previously messaged me and said, "Hey, we're doing an event. Will you come do some time?" And I said, "Yes, Elizabeth." How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very good. And Nicholas is with us as well. Do you prefer Nick or Nicholas? You said Nick.
You can call me Nicholas. I feel like I'm in trouble, though.
I know. What's your middle name, Nicholas?
Nicholas Wayne.
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 That's a very powerful middle name.
Thank you.
Nicholas Wayne. Well, so Nick and Elizabeth were with us previously to talk about amplifying the message to performers, in particular comedians, to create an environment where they can have access to health care. So this is HACC. Let folks know a little bit about this so we can catch them up as to why we're having this event, too.
Sure. It's the Health Alliance for Chicago Comedians, or HAC. We're proud of our HACs in this instance. We're a new nonprofit that is aiming to provide health insurance to comedians working in Chicago, providing subsidies and providing general access to care. We're just getting started, so we're really asking the community for support and for help, but we've had a really, really great reception of people who understand that the system that we have right now is not working for comedians, other artists, and contract workers in general. And so we're just excited to find more partnerships and more people that are interested in our mission.
And Nick, what if comics told you? Because I mean, I did comedy for a long time and didn't have, I was 26. Here's the thing. We didn't have the extension to 26 years old in the 90s for, to have your parents' health insurance. So I went for about 6 years with no health insurance until I got married. I mean, we all know that in order to have health insurance, you have to have a full-time job, and having a full-time job makes it somewhat difficult to be a performing and touring comedian.
That's 100% correct. Yeah. And I'm so honored to be opening for you and hosting for you at Ravenswood on Tap Street Fest. Thank you for doing the time, the legend Patti Vasquez. But I'm happy you have health insurance now, but that's not the case for a lot of comedians currently working under 26 or otherwise. So being part of that community for so long, I've worked 4 or 5 jobs at once, never had a full-time health insurance plan from any of them. And I know that's not an uncommon experience. Many, many comedians face that, if not worse. So I somehow feel very privileged only paying $400 a month in premium for healthcare these days. So we're trying to make that burden less for everyone.
Well, and with the work that you've done, Elizabeth, throughout your career, and knowing that in the situation now where we have subsidies that have gone away for a lot of folks. I mean, not that the Affordable Care Act was the biggest solution, and we obviously need more, but it's obviously a cry for better health insurance in general, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons we actually got connected to the Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce, as we were trying to find people that were finding different solutions and different ways to really meet the need of the community.
Yep. So we have with us from the Ravenswood Chamber, we have Amy and Jean. So first, let's start with you, Jean. Where are you from? My friend?
From Chicago. Grew up on the Northwest Side.
I'm sorry. Hello. Welcome to your neighborhood then. No, I'm just kidding. I grew up in Norwood. Where'd you grow up?
Jefferson Park, Portage Park. Kind of moved around between there for a while. Yeah.
All right. So where'd you swim more? At Portage or at Jefferson Park?
Jefferson Park mostly, yeah.
That platform at Portage Park. Did you ever jump off of that? There's a big platform diving. That was,
at the park,
Isn't that crazy?
I'm scared of heights. That was not for me.
That was not my thing.
You're lucky to get me in the pool.
Where'd you go to high school?
Over at Northside Prep.
Oh, excuse me. Lane tech forever. Anyway, we're a little bit disgusting that way. We're a little bit too proud, aren't we?
And I mean, it took me a while to get into my adult life and realize that my public school experience was not a public school experience.
Right.
So, you can keep all the.
Northside Prep is is that the newest of the school? The magnets? Walter Payton and Northside Prep are pretty close.
Yeah, I think Payton's newer. They weren't. Yeah,
I think you're right.
I'm feeling old now thinking about high school.
Class of '89, baby, back off. I know. That's fine. How about yourself, Amy? Where are you from originally?
I'm also from Chicago, born up in a little, well, not physically in the bungalow, but I was born, downtown. Went home to the bungalow over in West Rogers Park.
Oh, nice.
Spent a handful of years in Virginia for my mom's job. And then we came back to the Chicagoland area, Park Ridge. So I was right on the blue line, thankfully.
Sure.
So I was still able to get back to the city. Still, very strong roots as Cubs fans. My parents are 2 of the biggest Cubs fans I know. So the entire time I was in Virginia, I was wearing Cubs stuff and Bulls stuff and any kind of Chicago they could put on me. And then for college, I came back into the city, and I haven't left.
Oh, and so Gene, how'd you get involved with the Ravenswood Chamber?
I hated my old job, and I answered
it. Do we find our next job that way a lot?
I answered a Craigslist ad.
Get out of here!
And here I am, 12 years later.
Holy cats! So you don't hate this as much as the last one?
No, this place is great.
That's awesome. And how about you, Amy? What brought you to the chamber?
I actually worked for a local business that was a part of the chamber, Empirical Brewery, unfortunately defunct now, but I knew them through my job. And so once I lost my event management position at the brewery with the COVID closures and everything, they were looking for someone at the chamber to take on some things. And so I moved over there, and that was 5.5 years ago.
And it's such a great area. I mean, it has really come along. In the 12 years that you've been there, I mean, it's just become such a dynamic location. The whole network of businesses and the community has really grown in different ways. So with Elizabeth was mentioning that you've found solutions and pathways for people to have health insurance. Tell us a little bit about the program that you have.
So back in 2017, our previous executive director was exploring ways to help reduce the cost of doing business for small businesses in Ravenswood specifically, but across Chicago. I know it's a top of mind conversation now, both cost of doing business in the city and access to health insurance. But one of the things we were seeing 10 years ago is that small businesses were having a hard time keeping talent and staying competitive with the benefits packages that larger companies could offer.
Sure.
So she found a way to provide access to group rate health insurance for our chamber members. And so we've been running that program for about 9 years now with, I think we're up to about 40 businesses that have employees getting access to insurance through our co-op.
Wow. So, and is this something that you had heard other people were doing? I mean, like, because I feel like this is what other, people listening all over the country, can think, oh, there are ways in order to make sure people feel like they're not trapped in a job that they hate or can stay someplace that they love just because of health insurance.
Yeah, it feels like that a lot of organizations were starting to explore this around that time. And I can tell you that based on the inquiries that we've gotten over the last 2 or 3 years from people like Elizabeth, that this is coming up increasingly. But at the time, there were a handful of other people we knew in the city that represented trade associations or other professional groups that were trying to figure this out. I think at some point I've talked to somebody related to Boy Scouts, somebody related to a Brewers Guild, a whole bunch of different trade associations that have attempted to go down this route. But it's been pretty successful for the chamber.
Oh, that's great to hear. And had you had insurance, like was this a path for you? Had you had a previous employer? Was the Illuminate? Which one was it?
Empirical Brewery.
Because Illuminated just closed too.
Yeah,
which broke my heart. Oh my God. Yep.
I actually had the Chamber's health insurance co-op. Our brewery was a part of it, so I was able to get a PPO for not as much as I would be having it, just out of pocket, and that really helped my husband and I when we were, getting our feet as adults and everything. It was a really, really awesome thing to have access to. So it's amazing to see other people be able to get access to it as well.
Well, I'm so glad. And so this, Elizabeth, was something you had talked to Jean about before, or you said you were looking for organizations that had found solutions?
Yeah, I had just been doing some research to try to find out, what other ways people are handling this issue. And then actually the reporter at the Chicago Sun-Times, Alvia, she said, have you talked to Ravenswood? And I said, yeah, they're on our radar. And so Nick and I met with Jean really just to learn and find out a little bit more about it. But through our conversations, we realized it actually could be a partnership. And so that's something that we're exploring, because you don't have to be a Ravenswood business to join the Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce, and Jean can speak more to that. But we realized that we have a really great opportunity with the different comedy clubs in town where we could have them join that Chamber of Commerce, and then they're part of the pool. And then you have a group of people who are usually younger, relatively healthier, and that helps everybody, and that makes it cheaper for everybody.
Well, then they just stopped giving comics free drinks as part of their pay. Speaking from experience, and have the comedy clubs. I mean, so the comedy clubs are involved because I know that Zanies had gotten to a place where they at least had health insurance for their staff, for the waitresses and their box office and things like that. This would be something that a club, not maybe specifically Zanies, but a club like that would then also invite comics to be a part of this healthcare plan.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Lincoln Lodge, Nick?
Lincoln Lodge, that'd be
initially,
great.
Our plan is to do our pilot project with Lincoln Lodge, and I know
Smart.
we're coordinating a meeting and seeing that through, but that's our plan to do in the fall, or I know they do a rolling enrollment, so that's
so
lovely
exciting.
too.
I mean, like my heart, this is so great to know that comics would have an option. Yeah.
All the employees there would then be eligible under Lincoln Lodge's membership with the Greater Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce. And I think what's been interesting about this whole experience of looking for unlikely partnerships is that initially we were talking about marketplace, ACA, Obamacare options, and they were never that great, and sometimes they're very hard to maneuver. And we're interested in like this overlap that we see with comedy and chambers of commerce, and even some Christian work. We're talking to some Christian health clinics, and it's just, I think in this time, like for collective action, is gonna be like a weird overlap of maybe Comedy, Christ, and Chambers of Commerce, then I never would have thought I would say those in the same sentence. But
the 3 C's.
Isn't it wild how much it like all, and this is great work, and yet it's just painful to know that you have to do this much, like sort of scrambling to like put this all together, and we know that for a country that has so much wealth and spends so much money in ways that harm so many people. At any rate, I'm so excited to be a part of this. So tell us, Elizabeth, about the event, or whoever wants to tell us about the event on Saturday and Sunday.
I think they can speak more to it.
Yes,
they invited
tell
us
us
to
about
do
the Ravenswood Tap music and comedy events. Yes,
sure. So this will be our 9th year of Ravenswood on Tap. It's a street festival, July 18th and 19th along Ravenswood Avenue from Berthoud to Belle Plaine. So just a little bit south of Montrose Avenue. The event brings together the breweries and distilleries and wineries of Malt Row. So we've got 8 local breweries, a winery, and a distillery all within 1.5 miles of each other. So unlike a lot of other events where you're going to be drinking the same 3 or 4 beers, or maybe even the same 6 from some regional partners, this will be an opportunity to taste all of the beers made within 1.5 miles of the festival.
That's great.
And so we pair that with some of our favorite bands from across the city. We're really excited about the lineup this year because it is all local and independent musicians. We don't have any cover bands this year. There might be a couple covers throughout the weekend, but these are all people who are on local labels that are playing at clubs around the city throughout the year that we're especially excited to highlight. And then after meeting with Nick and Elizabeth a couple of weeks ago to talk about a health insurance collaboration, we kind of got on the subject of whether there were other places that we could partner, and this idea of bringing some comedians to jump up on stage with us at On Tap over the weekend kind of sprouted very quickly, and now you're a part of it also.
Yeah, I'll be happy. I'm more happy to wrangle audience members too, because at a fest like this, I mean, like people will be standing around. Are you gonna have like dedicated like chair, like rows of chairs or anything, or is it all kind of a standing area?
There'll be some seating. We've got some tented seating and some kind of like beer garden area for people to mellow out, and then there'll be one big stage, which Saturday is going to be mostly punk and rock bands, and then comedians interspersed. And on Sunday, we've got a pretty exciting like honky tonk and blues lineup.
Oh, wonderful! I'm so excited. That's the Ravenswood On Tap Craft Beer Music Fest this Saturday and Sunday, July 18th and 19th. Again, there'll be comedy and music, and we're raising awareness as well for Hack. And you can go to ravenswoodchicago.org. This is the Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce, and an event that brings together 8 breweries, 1 winery, and 1 distillery. Is that right? We'll talk more about those when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm sorry you guys can't make it, but yeah, hey, there's time to get a flight into Chicago. I'm just saying. Fares are pretty good. More after this as well digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and Substack with Monaco Brewing Company.
No detours, no distractions, just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
So much for joining us. We continue our conversation here at WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hello to our friends who are watching digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and possibly on Substack, where Monaco Brewing Company now carries our show. And, I almost forgot about our podcasts, which are available wherever you download your podcasts, but we would ask you to join us at heartlandsignal.com. Joining me in studio, we have our friends from the Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce. The event this weekend is Ravenswood on Tap Craft Beer and Music Fest. That's this Saturday and Sunday, July 18th and 19th. You can go to ravenswoodchicago.org. And joining me as well are Elizabeth and Nick from Hack. Remind me again what the acronym means.
Health Alliance for Chicago Comedians.
Yeah, I should know that. Health Alliance for Chicago Comedians. I should write these things out. That's why I can't be an auctioneer. I forget things very easily. This Saturday and Sunday, there'll be music. I love that it's going to be punk rock music as interspersed with comedians. Can I ask who you picked for that evening?
Just a comedian who's going to start a mosh pit, because it seems like the energy will be primed already.
That seems about right.
You've never seen anything like it. You have to be there to see it to believe it.
It's going to be a lot of. So I asked about the chairs because I've done like the Irish American Heritage Foundations of Irish Fest, and it's just I find myself like I would be running around like we're doing a comedy show. We're trying to direct people to the stage, especially if you're doing it for the first time. But I am more than happy to encourage people to come and enjoy some fun stuff. And so we mentioned breweries. We mentioned there's going to be 8 breweries, so I can name 2 at least. I know that there's Dovetail and Beguile. And then who are our other 6?
Can we see if we can do this without the cheat sheet? So you
Yeah.
said Dovetail and Beguile. So Demo Brewing, Cultivate by Forbidden Root, Hop Butcher
For the World.
Nice. Hop Butcher for the World.
Was Brewing,
Nice.
Spiteful Brewing.
Half Acre,
Oh,
That's the 8.
then
Okay,
Koval
it's 8.
Distillery.
Nice.
And Vin 312 Winery.
Excellent. Look at you guys. You did not. I will vouch that they never looked at their cheat sheet. Excellent. That's very cool. I love that. I love that because there's that big. What's that big artifact? Isn't it? Is it the
Artifact Events?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, they're amazing.
How long has that been open?
It used to be Architectural Artifacts, and that was around for so long. My parents used to take us there when we were little as though it was just like a way to distract us.
Yeah.
And they would just let us wander around these like very expensive architectural artifacts. That's part of what made me want to go into architecture as a major, and which we won't get into because it has nothing to do with the beer. But it got transferred into a event probably 5 years ago?
Yeah, somewhere around
Give or
there.
take.
It feels like
years?
it was pandemic-ish. It felt like
pandemic-ish.
Which
and
all
it's
feels 30 years ago.
Right, it does.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
it's so nice.
A friend of mine got married there. Maggie O'Keefe, the committee woman for the 40th ward,
we
got
know Maggie
married
a little
there.
bit. She's
Yeah,
great.
it was a beautiful. I mean, if you get that was.
I probably worked that wedding. I work there all
Oh,
the time.
really?
I'm the guy-
Bartending or-
I'm the guy that cleans up the puke. You don't recognize me?
Sorry.
It is a beautiful building, though. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, there's a lot of stairs. So when you're the one
Yes.
carrying the trash, it kind of sucks. But it is
Yes.
beautiful.
How long do you still work there?
I work for like a private events company, but
Yeah.
we partner with them, and I work there a lot. I don't need to talk about that. That's not all.
No,
That's also not about the 8 breweries.
But I think it's part of the event. So again, it's the Health Alliance for Chicago Comedians. Hack is a endeavor to make sure that comedians who look. I'll tell you, doing stand-up comedy when I didn't have health insurance, like you're in your 20s and you feel invincible and you don't really think about it. And it was a different time politically too. It was also like, and healthcare wasn't as massively crushing as it is now. So I'll give you an example. My go-to in the 90s was Planned Parenthood. When we talk about Planned Parenthood, they actually had a sliding scale based on your income. So I had abnormal precancerous cells removed for I'll never forget this, $117. Wow. I mean, can you imagine going in and getting precancerous cells removed from your cervix for $117?
I can.
I mean, today I don't even know. I don't know how Planned Parenthood works it now, but that's essentially what we're talking about is giving people the opportunity to be able to have happy, healthy, safe lives and still do what they dream of doing or what they're good at and what their path is. Anyway, I'm going to step down off my soapbox. What?
It's your show.
Yeah, no, but it's that's why I'm more than happy. Whatever you call, I answer. That's all I'm saying. And for the comedians, have you? Because I know that there are comics who do hold on to their date. Like a lot of them burn out and don't come back to comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also part of what we're seeing is, who's able to actually take the risk and go out and try to make it as a comic. And it's people who have independent wealth. It's more white people. It's more men.
We're not looking at you, John Mulaney, but go ahead.
Yeah. And, part of what we see our goal
He's also
as,
talented, but yes.
Yeah, he's talented. But there's plenty of other John Mulaney's, Mrs. John Mulaney's out there.
Yes.
Not
I know
Olivia
your
Munn,
name.
but
Yes.
you know what I mean.
Amy Schumer is also connected. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's plenty of other people who are funny enough and people would be receptive to what they're doing and the way that they do comedy, but they just need someone to help fill that gap.
Yeah.
And it's a totally reasonable thing to do, to look at the situation and be like, this isn't worth it. I'm not going to quit my day job to go tour. It may work out, it may not. But if you have the resources, if you have a community that's supporting you, it makes it so much more likely that talented artists will be able to live out their dreams. And that's better for everybody.
And I know I'm running out of time, Paul. Give me 1 second. I just want to say this. Doing stand-up comedy is a job. It does provide a service. People who own venues rely on those services in order to sell their drinks, in order to bring people into their establishments, for fundraisers, for other kinds of events where they always want a comedian. It is a job. I just want people to know that. And this is parity, this is equality, and this is making sure that everybody's safe. And now my show's over. I apologize, everybody. I had to have the last word. The event is Ravenswood on Tap Craft Beer Music Fest this Saturday and Sunday. Go to ravenswoodchicago.org. What time does it start?
Noon,
both days. Excellent. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And where do people go for HACC?
ChicagoHack.org.
Yes.
And Patti Vasquez is on at 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Thank you. 1
Plug
p.m. on
yourself.
Sunday. Thank you, Sarah Paul. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.